Over the past few days, we've been explaining the ins and outs of the papal trip to Turkey. But today, it's time for a change of scenery. We're headed to Lebanon, but first, let me tell you one of the most striking differences between these two countries. During the trip, we've been speaking with our colleagues on the ground, who all have been following the minute-by-minute moves of the Pope, and they've told us the following. In Turkey, they said, the anticipation surrounding the Pope's arrival was not at all high, at least socially. This makes sense if we consider that 99% of the country is Muslim. Many people didn't understand why the streets were blocked. When asked if they knew who Pope Leo XIV was, locals didn't have an answer. And this was noticeable during the Pope's events in the country as well. That's a dramatically contrasting reality to the welcome we saw yesterday in Lebanon, despite the fact that not everything was in favor of such a warm welcome. At first, everything went well. The President of the Republic and his wife welcomed the Pope. But then this happened. The skies opened and it began to pour. Look at how crowded the streets of Beirut were as many people awaited the Pope. Despite the rain, people didn't hesitate to come out to see Pope Leo. A sea of white umbrellas awaited him, with many carrying signs, Vatican flags, and welcome messages. The downpour wasn't much of an obstacle for Pope Leo either. He didn't come out in a car, but in a covered Pope-mobile instead. His expression was one of astonishment. He looked around in surprise, clearly moved seeing so many people receiving him in their country. The rain clearly didn't bother this group either. They were getting soaked, but as you can see, the rain wasn't a problem for them. The family of the President of Lebanon didn't miss this chance to make this friendly gesture towards the pontiff. It seems they know the Pope well and have kept up with his personal interests. Here you can see the couple's children, who gave Pope Leo a tennis racket made in their country, and of course, tennis balls to go with it. We know that Pope Leo uses his getaways to Castel Gandolfo to play the sport, but now he'll have something to help him practice. Everything we're describing about the president and the welcome in Lebanon has a lot to do with the political, historical, and religious context of the country. Let's quickly dive into the structure of Lebanese institutions. We have to go back to 1943, when a pact was made. Lebanon gained independence from France, and the two main communities came to an agreement in order to avoid domination by either side. It was then decided that they would divide political power by religious affiliation. That's why the president, the one who welcomed Pope Leo, is a Maronite Christian, while the prime minister is a Sunni Muslim, and the speaker of the parliament is a Shia Muslim. However, the problem is that the system also opened the door for radicalized parties, like Hezbollah. This also explains the huge welcome for Pope Leo XIV. Their society is more evenly divided by different religious groups than Turkey. In Lebanon, roughly 65% of the population is Muslim and 35% is Christian. While Lebanon is geopolitically crucial, it's facing severe internal problems, marked by an economic collapse, unemployment, and hyperinflation. Its border with Israel makes Lebanon in the direct line of fire of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Any escalation in Gaza would quickly spread southward into Lebanon, which is exactly what happened in recent months. And although we've seen this in other papal trips, look at how Pope Leo's plane arrived in Lebanon, escorted by 2 fighter jets from the armed forces. What our colleagues in Lebanon also told us is that security measures are much stricter than they were in Turkey, with many security checks required even for journalists. At times, soldiers even escorted correspondents to the Pope's events. Then, this morning, Pope Leo XIV visited the tomb of Saint Charbel, one of Lebanon's most important saints, highly venerated by both Christians and Muslims. He was a hermit with many miracles attributed to his intercession. The Pope went this morning to pray before his tomb. Then the same image from yesterday repeated itself. The streets packed with people waiting to see the Pope, even if it meant waiting from the rocks. The entire route was filled with people who wanted to see the Roman pontiff. Let us recall that he is the 4th Pope to visit Lebanon, if we include Pope Paul VI, who only made a stopover. The others were Pope Paul II and most recently Pope Benedict XVI in 2012.